In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
And this is Mike.
And I think we took a break, right? We did take the break that we said we were going to take. We didn't do it. We didn't do one last week, right?
Yeah, we didn't do one last week. No, sir.
Because of course it was Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
And we were all recovering from Thanksgiving. And I mean, I was recovering from Thanksgiving. My sister-in-law who lives in the house decided that because she does night work, works overnights.
Mm-hmm.
So she decided that we had our Thanksgiving lunch, because it really wasn't Thanksgiving dinner, because we had it at like 2 p.m, which I still don't understand this trend. But I've finally given in to the pressure from all the other family members to have it at lunchtime. But she decided that the reason to have it at lunchtime is so that like you eat your meal by 2:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you relax at the family, maybe watch some football. Try not to get in a fight with the annoying relatives, unless you're like me, who doesn't invite any annoying relatives. Therefore, I have no worry about getting in a fight. And then maybe around 5, 6 o'clock, when you would normally have dinner time, that's when you start bringing out all the pies and the cheesecakes and whatever dessert things you have, right? Well, the sister-in-law decided that she was wanting dessert directly after the meal, and I had made myself a nice hefty plate, have the candied yams, which is a new thing that I found that I like. Never liked them before. Have the turkey, have the ham, the mashed potatoes, the beautiful silky smooth mashed potatoes, the stuffing. I think that's all I had. There was other things like fruit salad, the abomination that is fruit salad. I mean,
I've got a question for you. How was your fruit salad made? Like, what was the ingredient to the fruit salad?
I don't fucking know. I don't eat that shit.
Okay, so here's why I ask, because
there's pieces of fruit in it, and
I normally hate fruit salad, and most of the time it's because of the consistency of the Cool Whip in the salad. Like, fruit salad by and of itself, without Cool Whip in it, is just fine. I don't know why people want to put Cool Whip in it. I think Cool Whip is a mistake when it comes to fruit salad. Like, Cool Whip goes, maybe, if you don't have actual whipped cream, Cool Whip goes on top of pumpkin pie. And that's like...
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. So what you're saying is, you just basically want a bowl of fruit.
No. See, the difference is that when you actually do a fruit salad that's an actual fruit salad, like the one that I had was a little bit more, like, instead of Cool Whip, try cinnamon and brown sugar in it. That's not just a bowl of fruit at that point. You're adding extra pieces. You're adding extra fixings to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like your standard fruit salad. It includes an extra sweetener in there, which is what the Cool Whip is essentially for. Like, why the hell is whipped cream or Cool Whip the binding ingredient to make a fruit salad a salad? Is it a dressing? Does a salad need a dressing?
Well, no, I think it's because it's analogous to the often used mayonnaise and mustard in potato salads and macaroni salads. That's the thing that binds it into to create that kind of salad.
You mean that horrendous consistency that I absolutely despise?
No, so you're not a potato salad or a macaroni salad fan, or is it just the consistency of the Cool Whip and the fruit salad that you despise?
It is the Cool Whip and the fruit salad. The thing about whatever the binding agent is in potato salad, especially, like, that's disgusting. Macaroni salad, not so much. That doesn't seem like such a big deal to me. As a matter of fact, I tend to like macaroni salad most of the time. But as far as potato salad is concerned, the graininess of the starch as it's ground up while you're stirring that you're stirring those condiments in makes mixed with like the aroma that, like, how you like, isn't there egg in potato salad too? Like, there's an aroma to it that just smells bad before you stick it in your mouth. It's not worth the trouble for me.
Well, here's my question. Typically, when you have potato salad, are the potatoes like soft enough you could like completely mash them with your fork, or are they crunchy? Do they still have some chew to them?
They still have some chew because they're cubed. Most of the time, the potatoes are cubed.
See, yes,
but then they're
potatoes
broken
are cubed,
down.
but
They're like mildly. They're like half-ass emulsified. You know what I mean? Like there's
no.
remnant of ground up potato in the potato, and then there's solid chunks of potato, and I can't stand that. I don't know how people like that.
No, I get you, and that's actually what's my problem with potato salad for a long time.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've got my wife to make potato salad where she actually overcooks the potatoes. They're somewhere between where most people make potato salad and where you get potatoes to make mashed potatoes, where they just squish completely. And there's nothing crunchy or hard or anything about the potatoes. They're super soft, and she's very careful when she mixes it with the mayonnaise and the mustard so that you still get pieces of potato, but they're like fluffy, even floofy inside of really good French fries, or like, again, almost to the point of where you'd make mashed potatoes out of them. And so it just kind of melts in your mouth, and you don't have as much of that nasty graininess.
That's okay.
But it took a long time to get her to make it just like that.
So it's not to rip on it, but that sounds like it's more the consistency of a paste, kind of.
Not quite.
I feel like I'm entirely missing the point. It feels wrong to say. You know what I mean?
No, it's almost you can almost describe it as almost a mashed potato salad, but it's not. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
I actually make my own pasta salad that's a little bit different. I use a sour cream mixture as the kind of fluid binding agent, whatever.
Yeah.
Semi-fluid binding agent. But I take the sour cream mixture and I mix in a Santa Fe style dip thing that is designed to go into it's designed to go into a little thing of sour cream, and then you'd use it as a dip. But that's actually what my substitute is for the mayonnaise, mustard, whatever else you would add in. And then I use cheese tortellinis. Preferably, if I can get it, roasted chicken with some kind of a like Tex-Mex seasoning on it, and cubed up cheddar cheese. That's it. That's all the ingredients that are in it.
That is very interesting.
So it's basically like this chicken and cheese Santa Fe type thing going on.
Whoa.
And it's a nice barbecue accompaniment.
Yeah,
in the sense that it's not something you would really think about as a pasta salad. But
that sounds badass.
And
I'm normally like so it depends on the type of pasta salad. That sounds fantastic. I gotta try that. Actually, my sister this year brought an absolutely bitchin' recipe that she found on Instagram, of all places. But she's actually a professional chef. Like, she's a professional cook. And and I don't mean like, I'm not talking like somebody that cooks at the back of not like a Denny's cook or something like that. I mean, like, she actually makes legit money going to, went to culinary school and did the whole thing, and is pretty accomplished as far as a cook is concerned. So she found this recipe that was absolutely badass. It turned out on Instagram. So she took it, she modified it and made it even better. And it was this, it was almost think like a corn
I just
salad.
want to say something right now.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm almost looking up a recipe on like Pinterest or something right now, because the story about this recipe is taking probably as much time as the recipe is going to take. I just want to mention that. Go on.
Probably, yeah. No, is it the corn salad? Is that what you're talking about? Did I send that to you? Or did you look it up?
No.
She said,
looked up?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked up recipes online and you're like, oh, this might be a cool recipe,
yes.
and then you have to wade through 3 pages of the story of why this person got into cooking, and what they love about it, and what inspired them to do this, and then the place they went to shop to get the things.
Huh? That's why that's done.
I was just feeling like you were heading that way with the story. But go on. What did she actually?
That's funny. I entirely did that on accident. But it's like this. How do I describe it? It's almost like a corn salad, but it's kind of got this somewhat pico de gallo consistency to it. So the base is corn, right? Like canned corn, but you've got a little bit of cotija cheese in there. You've got a little bit of red onion. You've got some, I think there's a little celery in there. but it's just all finely chopped, and it's just something you spoon and have on the plate. But there's a little bit of red pepper, I think, is in there too, like jalapenos in there. I'm trying to remember it. I'm trying to recall it from memory. So I'm gonna have to find it. I'm gonna hit her up and get the Pinterest because she did find it on Pinterest. I'm gonna look it up and see if I could send it to you and let you know what it was, because dude, it was it's gonna be like a regular staple now. It is. This is one of those recipes that comes in and now has to be there at every family get together every Thanksgiving at least.
Sounds a little bit like succotash.
I am not familiar with actual succotash. I do not know what succotash is. What the hell is succotash?
It's basically corn, lima beans, and vegetables. So this one probably didn't have lima beans in it.
No lima beans, sir.
But yeah, it sounds very similar to succotash, which
interesting.
I've never actually had, but it was always a dish that I was interested in because I can deal with lima beans. I'm not grossed out by them like many people are, but I love any kind of a dish with corn in it. I love corn, and I know I've done a few things that are similar to that when we've had like Mexican food night, or when the wife has made tamales, and she makes homemade beans when we have tamales, homemade rice, and I make my homemade pico, and then I've done some corn dishes that have some of the pico in it sometimes, but mainly it's just the corn with a lot of different seasonings, and of course the cojita cheese in it, because you got to have the cheese in it. That salty. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, that's basically Mexican Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
And it's fucking amazing on almost anything. I love having it, but especially goes well with corn. If you've ever had Mexican street corn, that is what is on the Mexican street corn. It is not Parmesan cheese on there, even though you think it is because you don't know the culture. It is not Parmesan, but it is freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, it's awesome cheese to have on. I use on when you make like legit well-made deep fried tacos, and then put that on the outside of the taco shell, dude, all day.
Yeah, no, I'm the type that'll do if I'm going to do like a smothered burrito and have rice and beans and meat and cheese in the burrito, right?
Yep.
And then you get some enchilada sauce to go over the top of the burrito.
Yep.
And then you put the cojita cheese on top of the whole thing. Because why? Because you want more cheese. Because it's necessary. It adds that salty tanginess. That's just like yes.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one.
But I didn't have that for Thanksgiving.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I had turkey. And yeah, there was nasty fruit salad. There was this nasty pretzel salad concoction that the wife and the grandmother love. It's like chopped up pretzels with basically a pretzel crust on the bottom, and then a mixture of whipped cream. Why whipped cream again? Why? Not even whipped cream, but Cool Whip. So why? Why more Cool Whip? I don't understand it. I don't eat Cool Whip on anything. Like anything. It does not go. I've seen people put Cool Whip in their hot chocolate. What the hell is wrong with people? No Cool Whip on anything for me. You don't put that on my pie. If you don't have whipped cream to put on my pie, screw that. Cool Whip does not work for that. Wait, I'm sorry. There is actually one thing. I just realized there is one thing I use Cool Whip for.
What?
I do make a low calorie frozen yogurt pie.
Oh, interesting.
That I use Cool Whip for. You use one container. It's a fairly easy recipe. It's completely simple and very refreshing in the summertime. You just need a little freezer space. You take a graham cracker crust, just a basic graham cracker crust that you can buy at any store. You take 1 tub of Cool Whip. And usually I try to get like the low sugar or whatever, because I'm diabetic. I got to watch these things. You get 2 containers of whatever your favorite flavor of yogurt is. Do not use Greek yogurt for this. You want to use the most basic, inexpensive yogurt, because Greek yogurt has a higher acidic content, won't set up properly for this. You just want to use your basic yogurt for this. Buy a store brand. It doesn't matter as long as you pick a flavor that you like. My favorite is key lime. So you mix two of the things of yogurt with the Cool Whip, with the single thing of Cool Whip, and then you put it into the graham cracker crust and you freeze it. Simple, easy.
Wow.
Fairly low calorie. The most calories and sugars are actually going to come out of the crust of the pie. But on a hot day, it's kind of it's frozen, and you eat it while it is frozen. It's kind of it doesn't get like an ice cream consistency because it's harder than that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so refreshing, so kind of almost light and airy. It's a really, really nice, refreshing, fairly low calorie dessert that family staple. My mother used to make them. This isn't one of those things that I consider like great cooking on my mother's part. It's literally just, those three things mixed together and thrown in the freezer. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to make this thing. Little kids can make it. It's actually a great project to do with kids. A great food, starting food thing to do with kids, because they're just mixing things in a bowl, pouring it in, wait until it gets cold, and it's fairly healthy for them to be eating. It's sweet. It's cold and refreshing. It's a really nice treat. And again, also really, really, really inexpensive as far as, making desserts go. It's not high class or, anything special, but it's one of those that's a little bit fun and refreshing and doesn't take much to make.
That sounds freaking fantastic, man.
Sadly, we didn't have that for Thanksgiving either, but we did have, I was talking about this Jell-O salad. So this Jell-O salad thing, it's pretzel salad, not Jell-O salad, pretzel salad. That's the specific name of this. Pretzels on the bottom, this Cool Whip cream cheese mixture on top of the pretzels, and then you put Jell-O with fruit suspended in it on top of that. That is the pretzel salad that is a must-have at my household in the holidays for especially the grandmother, but also the wife. They both love this thing. I cannot condone suspending fruit in Jell-O. This is just a wrong thing to do. But it's necessary at holidays. That's what they want, is that. For those of us who have taste buds, we had 2 homemade pumpkin pies. One thing that my wife does excel at is baking. She's fantastic at baking pies of all kinds, be they dessert pies or even pot pies. She's great at that. Amazingly good homemade pumpkin pies, and then some really nice cheesecake desserts, some with fruit on them, didn't touch those, some with kind of an espresso chocolate on top, and some with brownies on top of the cheesecake, and then a caramel sauce drizzled on top of that, and then sprinkled nuts on top of that.
Wow,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I was forced to eat my piece of pie and my little cheesecake with the espresso thing on top of it, like 20 minutes after my huge plate of Thanksgiving food. So I rarely have the food coma thing on Thanksgiving. It doesn't usually touch me because I'm good about spacing out when I eat things. That day, the last Thanksgiving, no. A week ago, no. I was not able to escape the food coma. I was in my chair and not moving for really the rest of the day.
Fully food comatose.
The only thing I ate this is at like 3:00 that we eat these desserts. The only other thing I ate for the rest of the day, I took 2 rolls, okay? 2 rolls. I took a piece of turkey that was big enough to fit on, and we had Hawaiian rolls this year. The wife said it will never happen again because they didn't taste right with the turkey. She needs the brown and serve rolls, and that's what I tried to tell her from the beginning, but we wanted to try something different. But I had 2 Hawaiian rolls, 2 of the little tiny Hawaiian rolls. I got a piece of turkey that was about 1/4 inch thick that was big enough to fit on those 2 Hawaiian rolls. That and 2 bottles of apple cider, non-alcoholic, just like the Martinelli's apple cider.
Yeah.
That's all I had for the rest of the day.
Good gravy.
That's all I could eat for the rest of the day. Oh yes. Yes, you're right. Good gravy. There was good gravy.
There was good gravy in my house as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I actually spent my Thanksgiving, like my actual Thanksgiving dinner. Like I went out and saw family middle of the day, and then went and spent my Thanksgiving dinner at home with my wife. And it was because we had a full, like we actually had a turkey that we had been sitting on for like a year, I think.
I think it's good to sit on them first.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, of course. No, don't do that. But anyway, that's what we were doing. So we decided because back in like 2020, when everybody was having Thanksgiving at their own house and nobody was really going anywhere, or at least shouldn't have been. Not that I'm trying to tell anybody what they should and shouldn't do. I'm just saying, like,
hold on.
A lot of us didn't do that. A lot of people didn't do that.
I just want to add, I've been having Thanksgiving at my own house since 2003 because screw everybody else's Thanksgiving. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to have it my fucking way.
Dude.
And if you all want to come eat my food and see me on Thanksgiving, you come to my house. I ain't going to yours. It ain't happening.
Well, that's what we decided. Like, it was like I picked a little bit of food and stuff with family, but the big meal came when I got back home because she busted her ass for like 3 days to get this done right. And my Lord, was it good. Like, the whole thing was done practically scratch. Like, I mean, she didn't kill the turkey or anything like that, but the stuffing was a home family recipe stuffing. Like, most people, what do they do with stuffing? Stuffing from a box. Hell no. We toasted the bread, we crumbled it, cooked the sausage, did the onions, did the celery, did all the fixins.
So you had sausage in your stuffing.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, we did, and we froze the hell out of that because we're going to be having it through the year. That's some good-ass stuffing.
I will add, there's a reason that I will only eat box stuffing.
What was that?
I grew up with my mother making homemade stuffing.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing will match, right?
Huh?
Nothing would do. Nothing would come close to that, right?
I hope not, because it was fucking awful.
Was it really?
And I hated having to cut all of the onions and the celery every single damn year. I hated homemade stuffing. And I will not. That's one of the things I've told my wife, who would love to do as much as she could homemade. I've told her, you're not ever making homemade stuffing. You're okay with box stuffing. I don't want you to try making stuffing and fall in love with that because I don't like homemade stuffing. Now, admittedly, she would probably make one that is way better, but I
understand that. If you're willing to take a risk, sir, you are more than welcome to our stuffing.
Now yours is a sausage one, so that's a whole different beast. My mother's was just your standard, the breadcrumbs and all the the celery and the onions and all the normal stuff that is considered just the basic,
the base
plain
stuff.
Version of
stuffing. She's got this whole thing down. She's had a family recipe that she does at every opportunity that she has, like a Thanksgiving stuffing. This is like her dad's family recipe that has stuck with her, and this year was especially important to do something like that. But it was the hands down, and I will admit, I grew up with two separate sets of parents, and both of them, from what I remember, I think one of them did homemade stuffing, but I remember most of the time it's just there was so much to make that homemade stuffing wasn't even on the table, so box stuffing it was. That was just like a normal deal. So I grew up on box stuffing, from what I remember. And I'm sorry, it is a whole different ballgame with what she made. With that family recipe stuffing, holy smokes, it was good. It's the best stuffing I've ever had.
Which I can believe that, especially with the added things. That's one of those things that, like, just all I remember is cutting the damn things and how much I hated it and how much I didn't like the stuffing. But I didn't like candied yams when I was younger, and I grew to like those. I did always like green beans, but I never liked green bean casserole. However, we don't make that one anymore because I'm the only one who eats it. So it's one of those things. It's like, it's not worth me trying to eat the whole damn thing. I love my green beans, but not enough to eat the whole container of the green bean casserole. Not gonna happen.
I did actually. We did actually do with the turkey. It was a fantastic turkey, fantastic recipe. Where the gravy was real gravy, like it was from the turkey gravy, right? Like we took what was left after the turkey had been cooked and set the turkey aside and then made actual gravy in the pan from what was left over.
You did it from the pan drippings, okay.
Dude, pan dripping strained gravy. Just badass. Absolutely fantastic.
The wife does, every year she does giblet gravy. She gets the packet of the giblets from inside the turkey and the turkey neck. She'll boil the turkey neck and the giblets in with it, the giblets. They get soft enough that she just cuts them up super small, puts a boiled egg in there too, which is a little weird at first. You're like, why is there an egg in the gravy? Okay. It fucking works though.
All right.
And then gets what meat she can off of the neck that's nice and tender meat, cuts it up small, and then has the remaining, the liquid that she had boiled those things in. That's the liquid base for the gravy, and then just adds cornstarch in for thickening. The reason we don't use the pan drippings from the turkey is because it would take on a little bit of an unusual flavor with the aromatics we stuff inside the turkey.
Fair. So, that's understandable. And we actually, I don't think we actually stuffed the turkey with aromatics. Everything was on the outside. So we had onion and we had carrot and all that kind of stuff, but nothing went inside of the turkey. We actually,
Our recipe requires an apple, an onion, and apple, onion, cinnamon, rosemary, and thyme in there. And
so you put it on the inside,
having your stuffed inside. You cook them in the microwave for 5 minutes in water to start to release the smells and all the stuff from them, and then you stuff them inside the turkey. So having your gravy taste a little bit like rosemary is not how you want gravy to taste. So us using pan drippings doesn't work with the application of what we do with the turkey, but that's okay. I get you. If you do the right application cooking the turkey, yes, the pan drippings are some of the best thing to get to be able to make your gravy. It's just the biggest thing is knowing what you're doing with the bird and what you can get off of it later, which is why it does work well. My wife wasn't able to do it this year, but in years past, she has taken the remaining carcass after everything's been cleaned off, and she has made her stock stuff off of that. Her kind of bouillon powder that she makes.
Ooh.
She will take the turkey carcass, all the bones and everything, with the aromatic still in with it, throw a couple other vegetable things in there, and then she'll boil that off, get the liquid, discard the carcass, keep boiling the liquid down, and then she'll use a dehydrator to dehydrate the liquid into basically a powder. It's actually more like sheets, and then she grinds up the sheets and it becomes a powder that's our own turkey stock, basically our own turkey bouillon. And we add that to a bunch of things. She does the same thing with vegetables. She'll get a mess of old vegetables and just boil those off and get all the stuff out of them and slowly reduce it to where she can powderize it. And then if you have that vegetable powder, man, you add it to anything. I'll add like a tablespoon when I'm making a roast in the Instapot that we have. I'll make a roast in there, and normally to get that good roasted vegetable flavor in things infused really good, you have to roast vegetables for a long time. An Instapot will cook them, but it won't help bring out enough of those flavors. And I just a tablespoon of that in the water that you put in with the Instapot to cook a roast and a bunch of vegetables with it, and so much flavor. It's insane how much flavor that you get in it. A little bit of that also sprinkled on top of no, it's not that one. She has a bell pepper one too, where she'll actually dehydrate the bell peppers and then grind them up. You sprinkle a little bit of that on anything. You have all that bell pepper flavor for days, and none of the chewy or crunchy pieces of bell pepper, which I hate the consistency of cooked bell pepper, but I love the flavor of it. Smart things to do with your food.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But no, it sounds like Tosh put up a pretty good meal for Thanksgiving. So you got to have multiple meals. I remember those days. Those were fun days.
Yeah. Technically, I mean, I didn't have any of like the main course over at the parents' place when I went and said hi, but that was all left for at home.
Yeah, save for the good turkey at home.
I'm not going to go that far out to say it, but kind of.
I
was looking forward to that turkey, man. The way that what we were doing with it and how it was being done, dude. I'm telling you, like, we did this turkey recipe like 2 years ago, and we were all over it. We wanted to do it again so bad this year.
Well, and I'm always a firm believer that if multiple people are making you the same meal, you eat the food from the person that gives you the sex. That's kind of the rule in the situation. If that person gives you the sex, you're going to eat their food.
I mean, if that's I I could consider that a rule. I think
it's worked for me
so far.
Yeah.
I
get the food and I get the sex, so that's
I was gonna
nice.
say it's a win-win on all counts. Sounds like to me.
Yes,
so,
it is.
Yeah.
But you were talking about you got to go visit family. I actually had a we every year for Thanksgiving, at least for the last 10 years, every year for Thanksgiving, we've had my wife's grandmother have Thanksgiving with us because she lives in our house. We live in a house together anyway. Throughout multiple years, we've had various siblings of hers. We've had a few years where we had a lot of family come over for Thanksgiving. Those were interesting and fun days. But more recently, we don't have we just have whoever's living in our house under our roof that has Thanksgiving with us, and so it's been the grandmother and the sister-in-law that live with us. But I was lucky enough to get one member of my family to be able to come over for Thanksgiving this year. My father was able to visit for Thanksgiving, so that was
great.
nice.
Yeah.
He was able to get a shot at some of the home cooking. He's had all the food before that we've made, but it's still nice to be able to have that. Probably I'm sure everybody in my family who knows him or who may or may not listen to this can say he's probably the most if you're going to have any relative, especially older relative over, he's probably one of the better ones to have because he's the last person in the world to start an argument. He's the last person to get involved in any kind of about the worst he does is, he is in his 70s. So sometimes when he's referring to people of different skin tone, he uses archaic words that are not necessarily the bad words, but the words that are considered a little less appropriate nowadays.
Understood.
And so it's the battle of, do I correct him that he shouldn't use that word anymore, or do I just let it go? And I pick my battles. Sometimes I correct him on it, sometimes I don't. And it's more of a, yeah, that one word is one you're not supposed to use anymore. His response is usually, yeah, well, I'm old.
That's fair. That's a fair.
But
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do at that point? Like, you're not gonna you can't cause a blowout or anything. You don't want to do that.
Well, and he's not going to cause a blowout anyway. But I can say at least none of them are in a derogatory sense. It's just literally that's for any person that comes from the area that we would identify as Asia, even though technically Russia is in Asia, but most people don't think of them as having Asian background. He'll occasionally use a word like Oriental, and it's like, that's really not as acceptable anymore.
Yeah.
But it's not, at least he's not using actual derogatory terms about people. You know what I mean? It's more of that thing.
Yeah.
So, he's gone through a life where, and this is something we do need to consider with some of with ourselves even, but some of our older relatives and older friends, they have gone through a life where people of certain, skin color, background, ethnic group, religious group, they've gone through multiple acceptable, what's considered societally acceptable names to identify those groups in the last 50, 60 years. So occasionally, as long as they're not using like derogatory terms, occasionally some will come out and pick your battles. Pick which ones are the ones that are, the more offensive. It does happen. But, at least he's not, excited about some guy in Florida wanting to run for president again. He's actually quite angry about that. So,
oh, wow.
That's good.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that are angry at that, but
I mean, well, and what's funny about me saying that is there's technically two people from Florida that are looking to run for president. I didn't identify which one. So,
we all know.
It's both. It's actually both. But no, it was Thanksgiving was fun, and sounds like you had a great one too. And then,
a great time. Yeah.
There's the I know that we talked before Thanksgiving, and you still were doing your best to make it out to the stores before the fat rush. Yeah, that's going to come back to bite you a lot.
Dude, I swear.
I'm not going to leave that one alone for a long time.
I was going to say, man, are you still there?
We did get the chance to see each other on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, where we did an exchange of things. I did not sadly bring you the things I promised to bring you because I was doing my best to get the hell out the door at that point. But I will be bringing you the things I promised for the and for the price I promised. Nothing.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
But you can almost consider them Christmas presents, I guess. I don't know if you want to think of it that way.
I mean, yeah,
technically. It's not like we have a huge history of getting each other gifts. It's only when I'm at your house once a week, sitting around waiting for you to get shit together so that we could talk like this. Now I don't get to your house as much, so it's a little less of an issue. But
good. Nice to know I'm not such a burden.
Just a tiny bit of one.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's why we didn't make it in here last week, was because Thanksgiving and family and whatever. We need the time for that, which leads me into another thing. I'm gonna tackle this now halfway through the podcast.
I was gonna say we're half hour in.
Now halfway through, I'm gonna tackle this now.
Yeah, please continue.
This will be our last show of the year. Not last show ever, but the last show of the year.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be going on a holiday break. I guess we can say, because contrary to what some of the people try to scream from the top of their lungs, there is no law that says that we can't identify a specific holiday that we're celebrating during the holiday season. It is policy in some workplaces that you try not to exclude various people and therefore use a term that is inclusive of all holidays instead of just picking a single one.
Right.
But we work for ourselves in this endeavor. So we can say that we're basically taking a Christmas break because we do celebrate Christmas. I don't have decorations up yet, but apparently the exterior decorations will be going up this weekend. And then the 3 Christmas trees will be going up at some point over the next week. Yes.
Boy, that's quite a bit. That is quite a bit.
She had 1 Christmas tree last year, and that's the Christmas tree we've had for a few years. And then we were shopping after Christmas, and she saw a $180 rainbow Christmas tree that was marked down to $15.
Dang.
Like a full size, 6 foot tall, 6.5 foot tall rainbow Christmas tree. And so she bought it.
Oh.
And then I found for her before she found the rainbow one, I had found for her a discounted white Christmas tree because she wanted a white one too, because we had the green one. First, she wanted the white one. So I got her the white one. We were just going to have 2 trees. It's finally after, 20 years of marriage and whatnot, I was finally giving in to, okay, fine, you can have a second tree, whatever. Especially because our first tree was, we have the tradition in the family that was passed on from, interestingly, my mother and my parents and my grandparents, they would, one of our gifts from them each year would always be a Christmas ornament to put on the tree. And my mother's theory behind it, I don't know what my grandmother's theory behind it was, but my mother's theory behind it was if they gave you an ornament every year, by the time that you were 18, 19, 20, whatever, and you were going to move out, as was the plan in our childhood, that, once you became an adult, you would get a job and move out on your own, right?
Right.
Isn't that what it was supposed to be back then?
Yep.
That's
what you kept getting told while you were a kid.
Huh?
That's what you kept getting told while you were a kid.
Yep. So by the time you were 18, 19, 20, and you were moving out on your own, you would have a box of Christmas ornaments to take with you so that when you decorated your first Christmas tree in your house, your first Christmas away from living with mom and dad, you had your ornaments to put on the tree. Again, Christmas was the best time of year for my mom. She was at the height of her, happiness during Christmas time, and that was her thing to try to keep the Christmas tradition and family connection going. When once you moved out and were on your own, you had your Christmas tree with your ornaments on it, and I always loved that. I always thought that was a really great idea of how to build on things. So it was a tradition we started with our kids, and for many years my parents as well would get them ornaments. Now the thing about this is, my kids are older, and there is no with certain things going on, and certain things within our family, and certain things with my kids and society the way that it is. My kids are not leaving home anytime soon. This is why I live in the house that I do, because I make sure that there's enough room for everybody. Everybody has their own separate room, except for me and my wife. We don't get our own separate rooms. I guess we do, kind of. We have the bedroom that we share, but the loft is mine, and basically the rest of the house is, well, I wouldn't say the rest of the house is hers, but the living room is hers, and the family room slash reptile room slash sewing room is hers. So we do have our own spaces that are kind of our spaces, but yeah, everybody's got space in the house. Everybody's got their, their things. But when you have 3 kids, and the 3 kids get new ornaments each year, and I get a new ornament each year, and my wife gets a new ornament each year. And for the past 10 years, since the grandmother lives in the house with us, the grandmother gets a new ornament every year. For the past 4 years that the sister-in-law's been living with us, she gets a new ornament every year. And at this point, we have no room on the tree for the new ornaments for Christmas this year, which, by the way, we already found and picked out everybody's new ornament for the year. There's no room on the Christmas tree. Our Christmas tree is full, which is why I agreed to get a second Christmas tree. That's why I said I'll get the white tree. But then we saw the rainbow tree for $15, and we had to get the rainbow tree. So now we have 3 Christmas trees that we have to figure out where the hell we're going to put them in the house, because we know where the one Christmas tree goes. It goes in the same place that it's gone since we've lived in this house. But we have to figure out where to put the other 2, because, again, we have 3 freaking Christmas trees.
That is a lot of tree, but you also have a lot of ornament to fill those trees, so it seems very fitting.
So many.
And at least you have a house of proper size in order to accommodate for all of this. I mean, that's got to be nice.
I do. At least I do have a relatively decent sized house to have that, although it's pretty well packed to the gills, but doesn't matter. We'll find the room. But I did want to share what my Christmas ornament, the reason we bought Christmas ornaments early is because we were out shopping and my wife found the perfect ornament for me. I will send you a picture as we begin decorating. And for anybody listening, I will post it on the Facebook page for the Xennial Chronicles. I'm not going to worry about Twitter because it's dead. But she found a Christmas ornament that is a can of Spam.
That's fantastic.
It's so beautiful. She saw it's like, this is your Christmas ornament. And I'm like, yes, yes,
it is.
Of course, that was shortly after that, she found 6 different avocado style ornaments that she wanted to get me. I told her no.
Oh, none? Not a one, dude?
No avocado ornaments, thank you. No. Believe me, she does point them out all the time now. Anything that's avocado related, she points out now. But yeah, that will be coming. I'm sure that you I don't remember. You guys put up as big a display in your yard for Christmas as you guys do for Halloween? I don't remember.
No, we do not.
I know you got neighbors that already have huge displays up.
Right. Yeah, we got the Griswolds up the street, man. There's a couple of them that have got it decked out, but the guys on the family on the corner on our street, holy smokes, dude, it looks like a freaking circus over there. It's insane.
Yeah, there was already stuff up on your street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was stuff up on your street when I was there. When I was there at your house last Saturday. That's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I didn't. I completely forgot about this the night we're recording this. So at the very beginning of December, out in my hometown, there is a small parade. It's not really a parade so much as it's just a showcasing of a single car, where Santa does an open back truck ride through this small, tiny little town in Northern California. And just as we were getting ready to record, I know, James, you wanted to just add it in there because of flavor, but I wasn't quite ready yet. But then as I start getting in and sitting and listening, I'm hearing fire truck sirens, slow, long, and close as hell. And I didn't know whether or not there was an actual emergency, so I look out the front, I open my window, and Santa Claus is riding on the back of a Toyota pickup, flanked on flanked the front and the back by a couple of fire trucks. Like one's a police truck, and then the other one's a fire truck, and they're both running their sirens, and they're directly at the street at my house. And I do not have a large street. It is just a standard small neighborhood 2-lane, and this thing is huge and blocking any of the traffic that could come through there. And it was loud, and it was obnoxious, and it was slow. It was jolly. It was actually pretty cool, because that's like one of my favorite things that happens out here in this town. But it was the convenience of it happening directly when we were about to record was great.
Well, I'm going to burst your bubble a tiny bit, maybe.
What?
Your town is not the only place that happens in.
I figured that it wasn't. It is
this actually happens in my neighborhood.
Does it really?
Every year. So every single year.
You know what I'm dealing with.
Oh yeah, this happens every year.
I said that wrong. It's not dealing with, because I enjoy it. I do. It was just really funny that it happened to happen directly before we started to hit the record button.
I believe it's happening. It's happening sometime next weekend here. We get regular alerts, especially on the on like the local area Facebook pages. We get regular alerts for it. And there's actually an app for ours. There probably is for many others. There's an app where you can actually track the progress of the fire engine and the cars flanking it. And ours, he actually rides on the fire engine. There's an app you can watch and track where he's going to know when he'll be by your house.
That's
so that
cool.
So that you can be out with your kids. Every year that we've lived in this neighborhood, we are outside in the freezing cold with the kids, so they can watch the Santa train go by.
Yes, of course.
And so yes, every year we see it. Every year it happens. In previous years, they would pass out candy canes. They haven't done that for the past few because COVID. But it's still
hey man, there's Halloween's full of candy shoots and stuff now, and those are actually super fun. So.
But no, yeah, I don't keep the record on that. I don't have the date and the time and all that. That's one of the things that the wife watches, because we each have our specific jobs when it comes to doing Christmas stuff, and that's one of her jobs for Christmas stuff. Mine is typically present wrapping. I've been wrapping presents for such a long time. I used to wrap my own presents when I was a kid. My mother would lie to me and tell me they were for my cousin, and then make me wrap them. And then when I'd open them on Christmas Day, I'd be like, "What the hell? I wrapped this."
That is the cruelest thing.
Laughing the whole time.
Oh my God, that is so cruel. That's
fucked up, dude. But like the thing about it though is like she'd even buy them in front of me, right? She's like, "What do you think? Do you think your cousin would like this?" I'm like, yeah, that's freaking cool. That's a totally cool gift. And she's just like, plunk in the cart. You're never gonna know about this one. And then have me wrap it, and then like my cousin wouldn't get that, and I'd be like, "What the hell?" And then I'd open my present and be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, but you said it was cool, didn't you?" Yeah. Okay, then what's the problem? Oh, you got a point. Although it has affected me to this day. It's very rare that anybody buys me a gift without me knowing what it is ahead of time, which is really funny because it's not difficult to find something for me. But some people apparently think it is. The key, though, is don't let me know that you've got me a gift until you're ready to either tell me what it is or give it to me, because I have no patience to wait for a gift. Even to this day, I will hound you until you tell me what it is or give it to me. So the family around here knows that it's very rare they surprise me with things. There's a few times that my wife has made everybody think that she has surprised me with a gift, but in reality, she's actually totally talked to me about it beforehand and figured out exactly what to get me, and then I act like I'm completely surprised because, yes, I have a degree in theater, so I know how to act surprised. But 90% of the time I pick out my own gifts. This year for Christmas, it was like, telling one person, yeah, I want this, telling another person, yeah, I want this. And like, okay, but how do here, I'll send you a link to it. Here it is. Just get that for me. I'll be good. Okay. And it's become something that's kind of just expected. Once or twice in my life, somebody has really, really found something that is like the perfect gift for me. You found one, the little wooden Star Destroyer.
Yes,
that thing was amazing.
An absolute impulse. That was a straight up impulse buy, and probably one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. I'm like, this needs to go on James's desk or shelf or wherever. He's got a spot for this. I know he does.
Yeah, it's right behind me right now on top of my my really cool art series, Darth Vader's and the one Obi-Wan.
Nice.
And no, it's one of my favorite gifts. It's still, it's probably definitely top 5. It's not number 1. Number 1 still goes to the sister-in-law who lives here. One year she got me I don't know what promotional place it was from. Don't know if it was like, an old McDonald's promotional glass or whatnot, but it is glass. It is a glass that has Miss Piggy on it riding her motorcycle from the Great Muppet Caper.
Oh
and
God.
The story behind this is I have a picture of myself at Christmas time when I was a kid. A couple of pictures from the same Christmas. From 2 Christmases. Sorry, this is from 2 different Christmases. In one Christmas, I'm in bed after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in bed with a toy lawnmower that I had and with my X-Wing fighter that I got that year. And I'm sleeping with my X-Wing fighter. I'm like fast asleep clutching my X-Wing fighter because it was my favorite toy when I got it.
Right.
I'm so happy to get it. The year before that, I got, there's a picture of my brothers because they were with us that year for Christmas. I was young enough, so I was maybe 3 at this point. I was, still wandering around the house wearing, just underwear. And that's there's a picture of me standing in the middle of the picture in underwear. That's a Polaroid, of course, because that was the time period. And my brother's opening this poster on either side of the poster that's in front of me. And it was on my wall for years as a kid. It's Miss Piggy on the motorcycle from Great Muppet Caper, because I will say Miss Piggy was probably my first celebrity crush. Strong woman, protect herself, fiercely loyal to her man, and, a little demanding, but that's all right. You can deal with it. And so I loved Miss Piggy. I had that poster. I loved that poster. And she knew about that. She had seen that picture. So she found that glass with roughly the same picture on it. I had no idea that she'd found it. When I opened it, she had just got me a gift. I'm like, okay, cool. It's one of her first gifts. I think one of the first years that she was an adult working, making money, buying gifts for people and shit. And I opened it and I was just like, wow, this is, you won Christmas this year. You completely won. You've won Christmas probably for a lot of years, because I did not expect something like this. And it actually sits on a table right by my chair where I sit in the living room. And it is never been drinking out of. No, I never will put anything in it to drink out of it. It just sits for display, because just very, very good gift, very insightful. No information from me, no information from anybody else. It was just entirely her seeing it. And that's the same thing with you seeing that Star Destroyer. You see it and you're like, yes, he has to have this. That was that moment that, like, okay, she got me something really, really awesome. But that's, normally I'm the one finding the really awesome things for people. It's rare that people can get them for me. And I love it when they do. Although I love it when anybody gives me anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You can give me a stick of gum and I'm happy. So I'm an easygoing guy. But yeah, having all the preparations for that. I think the majority of my Christmas is bought, and buying for kids sometimes is tough. Buying for a family is even worse, especially family that you don't see often enough, but you do what you can. Right?
Yeah.
And those listening, if you're the parents of children, I just want to add this. Help your extended family out. Any extended family that's going to be buying your kids gifts, specifically their grandparents, if they have great grandparents still, help them out. They don't know, just like when we were kids and our parents did not know the difference between Transformers and GoBots. Okay? The parents nowadays do not know the difference between, if you're looking for toys for girls, if they're into different types of dolls. There are so many different types of dolls that, like, I mean, it's been a few years since I've had to worry about the whole Barbie doll thing. Don't got a kid my daughter's not necessarily into Barbie dolls. So, but Barbies are just one type of, like, 6, 7, 8 different types of dolls. And if the kid wants one specific one, they want that one specific one. Now, admittedly, I have one kid who you can just get anything Godzilla related and that child is happy. But not all kids are that way, and their loves change sometimes week to week, day to day. Trust that, help their grandparents and great grandparents, and even their aunts and uncles. who don't understand. I know we've talked on here before about your experience dealing with, I think it was your mom, trying to buy a gift for one of your nephews or something, and having no concept whatsoever of what the type of gift was. And you can look back to like, yeah, they barely knew. Like if you told your mom,
I still share that. I will share that meme every fucking year. It's so good.
And that's just I was having a talk with my father recently about different Christmas gifts. One of the Facebook pages that announcer Scott got me connected into over this last week posted a bunch of photos from not photos but pictures, whatever, from Toy Wish catalogs and Sears and J.C. Penney catalogs from the 1980s. And I was going through them and noting all of the G.I. Joe stuff that I had gotten. And Mask. Do you remember Mask?
Like the Mask?
Go ahead.
Like the Mask with Jim Carrey? Like the film?
No, not that. Not the Mask with Jim Carrey, which is what my dad thought of when I mentioned it.
Right.
And not Mask with what's his name, who was almost in Back to the Future. It wasn't Eric Stoltz. Not Mask with Eric Stoltz.
Okay.
But like it was a cartoon where they were basically like cars that were kind of all James Bonded out cars. They were good guys and bad guys. It's like there was this red car with gold wing doors. You know, the
Wait a minute. That was
doors.
like that wasn't like a huge cartoon, was it? Like I something feels familiar about that one. Like I saw it in passing and wasn't really that interested.
It wasn't a big cartoon, but remember one of our first episodes of the podcast where we talked about the Reagan administration deregulating making the ability to make cartoons into basically toy advertisements. Every cartoon that came out in the 80s had toys to go with it. Didn't matter how big the cartoon was. The cartoon was basically designed to sell the toy. It wasn't about telling a story. It wasn't about creating any lore. It was about selling the toy.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I understand that. But in order to do that, you at least have to have some kind of charisma and appeal to the concept and to the content itself. You don't just, like, I understand. The reason why the TMNT worked is because there was charisma in the cartoon. Not because it was just this toy line that was based on, no, they had to work on making it good. That's why they outsourced the first season to overseas, because they knew it was going to be done better. Then they chopped all the budget and made it suck in season 2 forward. I know that.
Okay, but remember that TMNT was its own product before it became a cartoon.
Yes, it was a comic book first, and the cartoon came out to advertise the toy line. It was made as a toy line before a cartoon, but it was converted to a toy line from the original comic series.
Transformers, GoBots, they were not. They were toy lines, and a cartoon was made. Mask was not. Toy line, cartoon was made.
He-Man.
Centurions.
He-Man, toy line, cartoon was made.
Huh?
He-Man, toy line, cartoon was made.
Exactly.
Yes, I do understand that, but either way, like what I'm saying is, in order for it, I'm not talking about like the roots to it. It's dude, that's cookie cutter 80s cartoon formula. I totally understand that. I'm talking like the details of it. Like, was it particularly successful? Would you consider it successful, or did it die out in a season because the toy line wasn't selling?
It wasn't very successful, but there were toys, and the toys did sell because I knew a lot of people that had the toys. I know I had a bunch of the toys.
See, I didn't know anybody that had those.
There was even a full playset that was like it looked like a gas station with a mountain and like a boulder on top that would roll off. And behind it was their base, cool. And the gas pumps would turn into lasers, and the boulder would pop off, and a laser would come up from the top. And yeah, I had that.
That's badass. That's a great concept. I love it.
You know, it was fun to nostalgia on those, to look back and be like, I got a lot of these things out of this catalog. That's kind of neat. I did get a lot of the toys. I don't have much of them left to show for anything, but I did get a lot of them. That's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
That makes me a little bit happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're it's all the preparation now for the holidays. Although, funny enough, this was not what I remember when when we started this, before we started this podcast tonight, not like the whole podcast, but just tonight, you'd said, okay, do you know what theme we're talking about? And I had a theme, and I said it like, oh yeah, I have it.
Oh yeah, like you were all gung ho on it.
We did not. We haven't talked about that theme yet. So we're far into this, but I think we can hit this theme now. I'm going to do a transition. We're transitioning into this theme.
All right, transitioning.
Because it's topical.
Okay, gotcha.
It's topical. I'm going to start first with saying that the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special was released last week on Disney Plus.
Oh, good gravy. How is it? How is it? Like, is it playing off? Have you seen it?
Oh, yes, I saw it. Of course, I saw it. What the hell are you thinking? It's a Christmas thing. I watch so many Christmas movies, it's not even funny. And it's Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's Marvel, so of course I watched it. And
right.
Go to watch it. There's a reveal in there that I'm not going to give away because it is an important reveal. It does happen early in the show, but
wait a minute. The Christmas special includes like Marvel MCU canonicity in it. It's not like this offshoot thing where you don't have to see it and still be able to. Does it actually have like an actual?
There is one reveal piece that is a big reveal piece.
God damn it, Disney!
I'll tell you about it after.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the premise of the thing is that Mantis and Drax want to try to make Christmas good for Peter Quill because they think he hates Christmas. They want to make Christmas good for Peter Quill.
Okay.
The Guardians have settled in in Nowhere, the space station that's the head of a Celestial.
Okay.
That featured in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Uh-huh.
They've settled there. They've people are living there, cleaning it up, whatnot. There is a there is a musical number at the very beginning of it, which is oh gosh, I'm gonna find the band who did the musical number because it was actually really well done. But the premise is, again, they're trying to make a good Christmas for Peter Quill, Star-Lord, because they want him to have a they think he hates Christmas. They think he has issues with it. So they're trying to think what's the best way we can do Christmas for him. And they decide that they're going to get him a gift. And the best gift they can think of, this doesn't really give anything away because it's literally, it happens within the first few minutes of the special.
Mm-hmm.
They decide that the best thing to do is not just get him a present, but to get him a person. And the best person that they could possibly get him is the biggest hero on Earth, as far as what Peter Quill has told them. So they go to Earth, or as they call it, Terra.
Okay.
To get Kevin Bacon for Peter Quill.
They kidnapped Kevin Bacon.
Yes, and it is Kevin Bacon playing Kevin Bacon.
Of course, it better fucking be.
Being kidnapped by Mantis and Drax.
Oh my god.
To be taken to be given to Peter Quill for Christmas.
And oh my god.
It's fantastic. But Kevin Bacon makes a little bit of fun of himself. Apparently in the MCU, they know comic books, and specifically they know DC comic books because Bruce Wayne and Batman are mentioned by Kevin Bacon.
Oh, that's funny.
And there's a hilarious moment when they find out that Kevin Bacon is an actor and not a hero like they think he is. And apparently Drax and Mantis hate actors. They're so fake and phony and disgusting. They make them almost want to puke. It's great. A lot of great meta fun. Amazingly, just fun, upbeat production. Kevin Bacon is hilarious in it. The band, by the way, is the Old 97s.
Oh,
they do a Christmas song.
Oh, cool.
But really fun setup, really fun, Christmassy thing. And, just it preludes into kind of what you're going to deal with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which the trailer for that just dropped this week, as did the trailer for Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody shared that trailer with me, and I have not seen it yet.
I
still got a bad taste in my mouth from Crystal Skull. Even though I don't think Crystal Skull was that bad of a movie. There was a lot of beats that were hit that were very indie to me. But I'm back and forth on it still. You know what I mean? Like internally.
Watch the trailer.
Okay, will do.
Watch the trailer.
Okay.
And of course, there was another trailer that dropped this week, as I was informed by my Transformer-loving child. The new Rise of the Beasts, where they are bringing.
Oh shit! They're doing Beast Wars.
They're bringing Beast Wars. You actually see in the trailer Optimus Prime confronting Optimus Primal.
What? Oh shit!
Which seems wrong, but
okay. Did they pull the voice actors from Beast Wars? Please tell me they did.
They may have.
I mean, if they're going to stay with the consistency with the voice acting with most of the other series, if, at least to make an effort to do so. All right, I got to see that trailer too. That's great.
Let me check real quick. Oh God, Dinklage is doing a voice.
Oh, Peter Dinklage is a voice? Ah, shit.
Oh, that's interesting.
Uh-oh.
It looked like there's a Porsche in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking it was Mirage. And it does create mirages at some point in the trailer. Pete Davidson is actually the voice of Mirage.
Whoa. Okay.
And I don't know. I don't believe that they are bringing the voice acting from the series. I mean, you still have Peter Cullen doing Optimus Prime because he is Optimus Prime. But Optimus Primal is actually Ron Perlman.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty legit replacement then.
And of course, John DiMaggio's in it because he does voices and everything.
Yeah.
Wheeljack, and yes, it is confirmed in the. I thought so in the trailer, but they are using the correct name. RC is in it. RC from the Transformers animated movie.
Oh, cool.
So
wow.
So yeah, it's a heck of a trailer. There's a lot going on in it. And that's so looking at 3 big kind of blockbuster movie trailers, right?
Yeah.
And one of them being the MCU, the other one being Transformers, is big thing. And then you have, the reason I mentioned those first is because I was on, we were talking on the podcast here before about Martin Scorsese and his commentary on the MCU movies and the issues involved with the MCU movies, and not feeling like they're cinema, but feeling like they're just carnival rides, basically. I want to add, there has been a little bit of backlash for the current phase of the MCU, and what is amusing to me is what the backlash is about.
Yeah, what's going on?
Some of the backlash is all these stories are so sad. All these stories, everybody's depressed and they're sad, and they're dealing with sadness, and it doesn't have the same kind of action things that happen. And you don't have the same big bad guys getting defeated the same way in the end. It's like people are just angry and sad without the whole thing. I'm like, you're the same type of people who complain that superhero movies the superheroes never have to deal with the consequences of their actions and never have to deal with all the emotional toll that the actions take. And that's what this entire phase of these movies is about, is what do you do in a world after half the population disappeared for 5 years and then just suddenly came back again? What do you do in that? How do you work through that, the issues that causes? And for the superheroes, how do you work through the people that you knew that died? I mean, I watched Wakanda Forever in the theater, and literally, I said, I think on the last podcast, it opens with the character of T'Challa dying. You don't see him because Chadwick Boseman had already passed before he could do any scenes.
Right.
It ends with it starts with him dying, and the emotional toll in the whole movie is about all the people around him who loved him and cared about him having to deal with his death and the ramifications of his death, not just for the country of Wakanda and dealing with their ruler, but for his mom and his sister and the woman that he loved and the people that cared about him, that saw him as more than just their king, but as somebody that they had respect and love and admiration for. And how do they live in a world without this guy? Because he was more than just that one thing to them. And that was very much from anybody that apparently knew Chadwick Boseman and talked about him. That's basically all they could say about the man, was he was that type of person. He was a light in the world that got snuffed out too early. And it's important I mention his name because he does come up in the later parts of this conversation. There's a lot of heat for this movie, for Wakanda Forever, that they didn't. Why'd they have to kill off T'Challa and not have, not just have somebody else take over the role? Well, one of it was to honor the work that Chadwick Boseman put in for the personifying of that role. He became the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And this leads to a discussion that another film director was on a podcast and was discussing the Marvel movies. Let me rephrase, a film writer-director, because that's how he likes to refer to himself, because he thinks he's much loftier by being a writer-director instead of just a director. And he was talking about the Marvel movies and how the people in the Marvel movies, they're not movie stars. Captain America's the star. Thor is the star. These are just, they're just there being it. They're not really the star.
So the actors themselves aren't being... Isn't that literally the way that, like, that's not new. That's the way that's the way it's always been, man.
I know that, but this is what this.
That's not that's a non-statement. Who said that? That's a non-statement.
This is what this writer director was saying, that basically people don't come to the theater to see, Chris Hemsworth as Thor. They just come to see Thor. It doesn't matter who's Thor. They're not there to see Chris Hemsworth. They're not there to see the other Chris. Damn, I can't think of his name. Evans. They're not there to see Chris Evans. They're there to see Captain America. They're not there to see Robert Downey Jr. They're just there to see Iron Man. Anybody can be Iron Man. It's Iron Man that people want. It's not Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Iron Man.
Oh, it's not like it's not like there's been a fucking argument over Superman and Batman for the last 80 fucking years they've been around. And for that nearly 80 years, they've also been on film. That's the same fucking argument. So this is not new, right?
No, this is not new, but this is basically this guy saying that, this writer-director saying that, echoing and even referencing Martin Scorsese, basically saying that the MCU movies, they're not real movies. They don't have real... That doesn't make
sense.
They don't have real superstar actors in the movies.
Oh yeah, because they don't. Okay, so what you're saying is good writing and good direction and good films don't make movies. The actors that play those people that play those characters make the movies. So it doesn't matter who the characters are. You should go see a movie for the actor that's in the movie, not for the movie, right? Is that what it is? Because that director would probably, like, dude, if somebody said that to him, in response to that, he'd probably backtrack, because that's 90% of the that's 90% of the job of a fucking actor. Is for the best complimented actor could have is like with case in point, fucking De Niro in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I didn't know that was fucking De Niro. It was fucking De Niro. How do you not know that's De Niro? In hindsight, I'm like, oh yeah, that's De Niro. But when I was watching the movie the first time I ever saw it, I didn't see De Niro. That's the point. You saw the monster.
That was a great movie. And by the way, Kenneth Branagh directed that.
Oh, wow.
Kenneth Branagh, who played Victor Frankenstein in that, he directed that.
That's fantastic. It's a fantastic film. But that's the same...
I just want to add...
Yeah. Please don't tell me that Kenneth Branagh was the one that said that shit. Because he's directed superhero films. Like, he does that. Didn't he direct a Thor film? I'm sorry.
Kenneth Branagh directed Thor with, by the way, with Sir Anthony Hopkins playing Odin.
Yeah. Like,
so,
how?
I mean...
Well, I'm glad to know that it's not Kenneth Branagh that's saying shit like that.
Oh no, it's not. It's not definitely not Kenneth Branagh saying shit like that. No. When I tell you who it is, you're gonna have different. You're gonna have so many different emotions. I think there's gonna be multiple emotions that you feel.
It's like Jim
First
Carrey
one is gonna be,
something.
oh, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
And then you're gonna be, yeah, he probably wouldn't backtrack it because all the other things he's been told that he's a dickwad about, he doesn't backtrack. And then maybe you'll have the moment where you think about his movies. Because I know you've seen the majority of his movies, and the ones that you haven't seen, you are well aware of his movies.
Yeah.
You're going to think about his movies, and you're going to think about some of the people in his movies, specifically one actor in his movies, and you're going to go, oh. Because that one actor did have something to say about this when he heard about it.
Okay. So
the writer-director, and again, he refers to himself as a writer-director because he differentiates himself from people who just direct movies. He writes his movies too.
Oh. Please continue. Who is this? You're greasing me up, dude. You got to tell me.
Quentin Tarantino.
Holy shit. Bitch, I didn't know who Michael Madsen was for like 20 years. And it sure as hell had nothing to do with your movies. It's that same guy. Fucking Steve Buscemi is the one guy that he has in every one of his goddamn movies, and for 20 years, nobody knew what his fucking name was. That guy's built a career on the actors, like, not being the stars of the film. Yes, he has Samuel L. Jackson. Yes, he gets Bruce Willis.
Who does he have? Wait, who does he have?
He gets Samuel L. Jackson, and he gets Bruce Willis. And no, I'm not stopping. Let me say my fucking piece. He said he gets Samuel L. Jackson, he gets Bruce Willis, he gets Uma Thurman, he gets all of these superstars that were around that time, those superstars, strictly because they do what he needs, but those people fall into those characters every time. The difference between, Maurice Wallace's wife, I can't remember her name right now, and the bride are completely, entirely different. And you're not, when you watch Pulp Fiction, which also takes place in the same universe as fucking Kill Bill, you're not looking at the same, like, you're looking at those two characters. I look at them entirely differently. I'm not watching Uma Thurman, I'm watching the bride. That's the point. The point is that the characters that are being created and the charisma of those characters is what carries the movie. It doesn't matter if you get fucking, if you got, oh my gosh, God damn it, this is driving me nuts. I'm so frustrated. I can't even come up with names right now. I'm that frustrated at that statement. It makes no fucking sense. The guy's destroyed my universe with his illogic. Yeah. It's stupid.
Well,
that sucks because I love that guy's movies, but that cannot be correct.
Well, one of the actors in his movies had something to say about this situation.
Okay.
Probably one of the actors that he has relied upon most, because I can think of at least 3 movies that he was in for sure.
Oh, no. Okay.
Because he was in Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
He was in Jackie Brown, and he was in Django Unchained.
Oh. Okay,
Samuel
so Sam
L. Jackson.
said it. Yeah, Sam said something about it.
Well,
I was looking at everybody else has also been, like, Eli Roth has been in his films.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Sorry,
what is Samuel L. Jackson best known for right now?
Yeah, exactly.
He's Nick Fury.
Yes, his character is Nick Fury. Nick Fury is Samuel L. Jackson. Nick Fury was redesigned around Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly. He is Nick Fury.
And you know what?
Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury.
When the Shaft remake came out, Samuel L. Jackson was John Shaft. That's who he was. Like, I remember when that movie came out, Samuel L. Jackson became much more of a household name due to that film. And say what?
But and I agree with you on Shaft. He did embody that, and luckily they put Roundtree in there with him, which was nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the key here is you're talking about somebody who's very likely one of the people responsible for Quentin Tarantino being able to continue to have a career because of his excellent performance in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Specifically, but then Jackie Brown, and then again what he did in Django Unchained.
Yeah.
But he is the exact epitome of, you will never, ever, ever replace Samuel L. Jackson in the part of Nick Fury. If Sam Jackson dies, Nick Fury dies. They will never recast that, just like they did not recast Black Panther when Chadwick Boseman died.
Yeah.
Because what has happened with the MCU for, screw what the Martin Scorsese's and the Quentin Tarantino say. I think personally they're both mad because they're not getting the money for those type of movies, and they're not getting the butts in the seats that those type of movies get, because their movies, while good for, maybe for the certain things, I will say that there are some of Quentin Tarantino's movies that are good. I will not agree that there are any of Martin Scorsese's movies that are good, but that's my personal opinion. And I understand that that's my opinion. Sorry, Hugo. Hugo wasn't bad. But, and interestingly, Hugo, I'll mention that's a Scorsese movie, not a normal one, nothing like what he normally makes. But one of the major actors in that movie is Sir Ben Kingsley. And what has Sir Ben Kingsley been up to lately? Oh, right, he's in the MCU.
Well, okay, so as far as that's being concerned, those, I would consider those parts as obviously an actor that earns their way into a part like that. But originally, what they're doing is they're making money. They're doing their job. They're acting. They're being actors. Like that, you can't necessarily. You cannot necessarily separate. You can't fully separate that from the phenomenon that Tarantino is trying to reference. But what is the issue that I take in it is the fact that he is trivializing the phenomenon of comic book films, because he trivializes comic books in the same breath. And from all I remember of most comic books, it's kind of like the same idea as when Broadway was something big and new, right? You couldn't tell an adult story way back in the day. But that vibe changed a long time ago. And it's like taking comic books and making them akin to cartoons. Cartoons are for children. They're not for adults. Nobody makes cartoons for adults. That's not a thing that happens. Except it fucking does, and it happens all the time.
Well, and I'm also I will put forth the argument that to make a product like that for adults doesn't mean it has to have blood, sex, and profanity in it. No. Which I'm firmly of the belief that there is that group of people, and I would put Scorsese and Tarantino into that group of people, that if it does not have blood, sex, in Tarantino's case, drugs, or profanity in it, then it is not for adults, because in his mind, that's the only way to truly understand adults is to have that. He'll say, "Oh, that's how adults really talk," and I'm not going to lie. We as adults, we do use foul language. I'm not going to lie that we don't. But I also find that most of Tarantino's films do deal around people with criminal intent and that kind of things, as does Martin Scorsese's.
Yeah.
So just because it doesn't go into dark places doesn't mean it does not deal with adult themes. Adult themes don't necessarily have to be that level of dark. There are still things that can resonate with you for those type of things that they don't have to go to that level where it's inaccessible to people unless they're adults. You can make something that is an adult that works for adult entertainment, not adult entertainment, quote unquote. But you can make something that actually speaks to adult themes and yet is still digestible by children and okay for children to see. And they still can get themes within it as well. But moreover,
that's what I consider that's what I consider the qualities of a good storyteller. Those, what you just stated, if you have the capability of translating adult themes, like adult themes and adult struggles, to a point where even a child could understand it, then you're telling a damn good story, and you're making sure everybody knows and understands what's going on, and everybody has an empathetic response to it. That is good storytelling, and that is good filmmaking. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I think you're supposed to do. And you don't have to include drugs. It doesn't have to be a fucking PSA. You don't have to include violence or sex in
nudity,
order to or nudity. You don't need to do that. Those are not necessary parts of an adult theme. Those are superficial and shallow. That type of stuff is superficial and shallow. If it's necessary to tell the specific story because you're going for a specific audience, that's fine. And I'm not saying that anything like just because it has sex or gore or nudity or violence or profanity or whatever, it's automatically a trash film or something like that. That's not where I'm going. What I mean is that dependent upon the theme that you're going for and the type of story you're trying to tell, in order to invoke that amount of empathy for the characters the characters on screen, if you are relying upon those things, which are in and of themselves extremely superficial and shallow, then you're not telling a good story.
No, you're just relying on Flash and
it's shock radio bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing as again, Samuel L. Jackson, he had some things to say about it, specifically with regards to Chadwick Boseman saying, no, Chadwick Boseman was a movie star. Oh, James left his phone on.
Oh no, I heard it.
Chadwick Boseman was a movie star. That's he firmly believed Chadwick Boseman was a movie star, 100%. And again, that's what they do in the MCU is one of the things that the MCU has cultivated. And again, one of the ways I think that they are very much beating many other companies that have tried to do comic book movies and tried to build those type of universes in the same way. One of the ways that they are handling this better. I mean, think about it, because the X-Men movies, they made a bunch of movies, but they can only, you had three X-Men movies with the original X-Men cast, and they couldn't sustain it. The only thing that they could do after that was bring in Wolverine for a few other movies, and then have, an end of Wolverine movie with, Patrick Stewart coming back, and that's basically it from the X-Men cast. Which, I mean, hey, it's Patrick Stewart, so he was, probably the best actor in all of that. But
honestly, that movie was fucking fantastic if you haven't seen it. That's incredible. That's an incredible film.
I haven't seen it all the way, and it is a very good take on things, and it's the darker tone, but it is standalone to do that. But the thing is, Fox could not keep those things going. Sony couldn't keep the Spider-Man stuff going. Part of that I believe was because they did not handle the characters in that way. They were doing back in the day, I believe, some of what Quentin Tarantino was talking about. They weren't handling the characters in the right way to be able to cast the right people to do it. Not trying to knock Tobey Maguire, but he was right for the time, I guess, but he wasn't entirely right. And there was more that could have been done within the story, within the writing of the story, within the directing of it. Again, not to knock the director, because I can't even think of his name now. The Evil Dead director, great director, Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
great director, but just not Sony not being cohesive enough and working through the story enough. But you look at what the MCU has done with their actors and their characters. They have made it to where the actors do become the characters. It isn't Captain America, it is Chris Evans.
Right.
And when Chris Evans is done, they don't find somebody else to play Steve Rogers. They instead pass the mantle of Captain America on to the next person who or one of the next people who in the comics did get the mantle of Captain America, onto Falcon. Mm-hmm. At one point it was also passed on to Bucky, but Falcon was one of the main people that had a storyline where he became Captain America when Steve Rogers passed it on.
Mm-hmm.
And Evans was done, they pass it on. They, kill off Tony Stark with Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. He's done. The character is done because he was the character. His acting embodied the character.
Right.
That's what people are looking for. They're not looking for Tony Stark. They're looking for Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Right.
You don't replace the actors in the MCU because they have done what they can to truly make it the actor and the character meld and become this thing together. And so, yeah, with Chadwick Boseman's passing, and Sam Jackson was a little bit heated about it. And you think about it, that's the last person Quentin Tarantino wants to get ticked off with him about these things. Because, I mean, in a sense, Sam Jackson has kind of been almost the backbone of the whole MCU. I mean, he comes in at the end of the Iron Man movie, and he's the one who sets the whole thing up. He sets up the Avengers. He puts all this stuff into play. That's the guy that's the backbone of it. And you're going to tell that guy that he's not a superstar actor being in those movies?
Right.
Wrong thing to say to him.
Did he respond to it?
Yeah, his response was again bringing up Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering where you were going with that. I think I missed that you had said that he had actually brought up Chadwick. So I apologize for missing that if that was something you specifically said that he had said. But that is an absolutely completely valid point. I have one question, because I hear tell that Harrison Ford is supposed to be taking a part for because they have to continue the character. But they only have to continue the character, and I'm not sure if it's like a multiverse type thing or not. They're going to have a way of explaining it, but
this is the only time so far that the MCU has in the Thor movies, technically speaking, two different people played Thranduil, which is one of Thor's friends in Asgard.
There's a couple of small
huh?
I understand that there are a couple of small times where this has happened, mainly for relative supporting characters. But when you're talking like, I'm sorry, Nick Fury's the fucking star, man. And Black Panther was the fucking star. Like in the Iron Man, I was like, you're not replacing those mainline characters.
And for anybody who wants to, for the argument's sake, anybody that wants to try to bring that part up, the Hulk situation, the Eric Bana Hulk was made way before the MCU was getting started. Edward Norton was supposed to play Bruce Banner, and was originally they were originally in talks with him to do the Avengers. He was going to be the MCU Bruce Banner and Hulk. And then Edward Norton did his Incredible Hulk movie, and he Edward Nortoned the shit out of it. In the sense that he is apparently a really, really difficult fucker to work with.
Oh,
he rewrites scripts. He argues with directors. He causes nothing but problems. He re-edits the films to the point that, like, one of his most famous early films, the director walked away from the film, tried to get his name taken off of the film, and did a huge campaign against the film because of what Edward Norton did to it. Now, it's considered a classic by many, American History X. But
really?
Yeah, he actually made Tony Kaye drop out of making films, and he became a musician.
Holy shit.
Was so angry with Edward Norton, but it has been reported on multiple times. I think the only director that he did not, or that he basically was not given free reign with, was when he worked with Woody Allen, and I think he only did one picture with Woody Allen. Edward Norton, I'm speaking. Edward Norton is apparently notoriously difficult to work with. Nobody likes dealing with him because he's a pain in the ass.
Interesting.
I
didn't know that.
Super annoying person to work with because he wants to rewrite the script. He wants to do a bunch of different things with stuff. He doesn't like listening to directors, and he was trying to cause a whole bunch of problems in the making of the Incredible Hulk, which is why they did not go ahead with the deal with him. They did keep Tim Roth, who interestingly enough, Tim Roth, what was one of his first movies for American audiences? Oh, right. It was Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. He was in the Incredible Hulk as Emil Blonsky, who became the Abomination.
Yeah.
He came back in the She-Hulk series as Emil Blonsky.
Yes.
Because he's not a raging douchebag like Edward Norton. And then, the actor who was William Hurt, who was General Thunderbolt Ross in the Incredible Hulk, was continuing to be Ross throughout the MCU. Was Secretary of State the last time we would have he was seen in Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Infinity Wars, I think the last time he was seen. And yes, sadly, William Hurt died. And this is a situation where this has garnered a lot of heat because this is the first big major character that they have cast a replacement for. And at this point,
so they are catching shit for doing that. I think
even though it's fucking Harrison Ford, who is like one of the most loved actors ever.
Right. That's the part that I'm confused by, because if you were to look at what they're doing with him, like with the character, like I have a spoiler or two I don't want to discuss. It's kind of important to have General Ross still in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a big deal.
Is it really a spoiler if you know what happened? If you have if
you have an understanding of the comic book continuities, yes. I wouldn't necessarily consider it a spoiler for those, but I would for anybody who may be listening to this who doesn't know, because that reveal is going to be mad awesome.
I hope so. And that's the thing is the part of the plan for the Thunderbolts, which is the movie that will be coming of this, is of course it's like an alternate team to the Avengers, and you already have Natasha Romanoff's sister, Yelena, who will be part of the team, played wonderfully by Florence Pugh. She's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. The best part of the Black Widow movie is, well, between her and the dude from Stranger Things, who plays the sheriff in Stranger Things, he David Harbour. Oh my God, he is so funny in the movie. They are so both the two of them together, hilarious all throughout Black Widow. Great movie. Great. The two of them playing against each other, just so much fun. Basically, they're all like off versions of the Avengers. You'll probably have U.S. Agent, which was played by Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son, who plays the part unbelievably amazing.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Wyatt Russell is U.S. Agent. He appeared in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series.
Oh, that's great. I haven't seen that series, so.
Oh no, he's basically given the mantle of Captain America at one point. And then he does things that Captain America should not do. There's a specific scene that's just like, for comic fans, you're going, no, Captain America should never do that. And he gets stripped of that and gets recruited to be U.S. Agent, which is who he was in the comics. So you're gonna have all these different kind of sort of bad guys, but not really bad guys that are going to get pulled over into the Thunderbolts. Including, of course, at some point or another, we hope that that Ross will be seeing a little red, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of the necessity for it. And the problem is, to have it be another character that happens to, you break continuity more than you do by hiring somebody else to play the part. Because Shuri, for the Black Panther situation, Shuri did become the Black Panther at some point in the comics. She has a run of, and I think she may currently have a run where she's the Black Panther. There's been Iron Lad, there's been Ironheart, who does appear. By the way, Ironheart appears in the Wakanda Forever movie. Another person in Stark tech style armor. You have Rhodey as War Machine, who is again one of the successors to Tony Stark. So you have these situations where the mantle can be passed, and then this is another situation where the mantle is not easy to be passed, because there are things that Ross has to do to be, and it's the Thunderbolts. So you kind of need a Thunderbolt for the Thunderbolts. So, but yeah, no, Marvel is catching flack because it is the one time that they've replaced somebody, and it was not an easy decision, which is why I'm pretty sure they chose literally the geek hero of actors like ever, the biggest geek hero actor ever. I mean, the only other person they could have chose would have been Mark Hamill, and he's too short for a Thunderbolt.
I mean, yeah.
but that's the that's the thing with it. I'm interested to see if they mustache him up. By the way,
I hope so.
The other thing they could have done, and they maybe should have done, is they could have dipped back into the Eric Bana Hulk and actually brought Sam Elliott to play the part.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I thought it would be dope to get Sam Elliott back in, just give him a chance to come back, dude. Sam Elliott would have been fantastic. But I'm not necessarily complaining that Harrison Ford's taken the part. I think that's going to be great.
It could be. It could be, and it's yet to be seen. But that's, that is one of the moments where I'm sure it took a lot of thought and a lot of difficulty with having to recast that, knowing that was a necessity for what they were doing moving forward. And again, one of the few times when they are able to, and when they can, they are doing their best to honor the actors that have played the roles, and really. The thing is, other people have done some of these roles before. There have been, again, multiple Spider-Mans. It was nice that Spider-Mans were brought back for Spider-Man No Way Home, the previous Spider-Man. Sorry, it's a movie that's a couple of years old now. People should have seen it by now. It's nice that some of that they were able to bring some of those back. Mm-hmm. It's nice to being able to, acknowledge that to some extent. But like already, Tom Holland has been in more movies as Spider-Man than both the other Spider-Mans combined. And that's because I think they are understanding the characters in the cinematic form more than they did when they originally did those. I mean, I'm going to be excited when they finally do bring the Fantastic Four, which is planned. Interestingly enough, the fact that they have Namor as the villain in Wakanda Forever, that actually opens up another villain, and maybe finally for the first time they will do this villain right, especially because they have introduced magic into the MCU via Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange and Agatha Harkness being in there. Magic has been introduced, and it is a thing there. And this particular villain, his one of the things that is not as well known about him is the fact that his mother was a sorceress, and so he does know magic powers. But most people just more worry about the fact that he wears a green cloak and wears a steel mask all the time. But guess what? There's some things that have been set up because at different points in time, this guy has actually tried to invade Wakanda to get Wakandan vibranium. And there is a connection there with Wakandan vibranium with Namor's people. By the way, they're Mayan. I found out they are a Mayan people.
Oh, really?
The vibranium is actually responsible for their transformation into underwater dwelling people. And so that's part of the vibranium is a central part of Wakanda Forever story. I won't say more than that, just that it's a central part of the story. And you're going to find one of the things that is pushing the MCU forward is the fact that there are other nations of the world that don't like the fact that Wakanda has all the vibranium, which basically gives it weapons of mass destruction, and everybody else wants some. And everybody else is going to try to find ways to get some, including a little guy named Victor. And because it's happened in the comics before.
Right.
Victor Von Doom has invaded Wakanda before to try to get vibranium. And if you introduce Victor Von Doom, you know who comes next. That is the Fantastic Four have to come next.
Yes.
And then there is also the fact that there is here is one spoiler for you. It's 2 weeks out from Wakanda Forever being released. There is here's one major spoiler.
God damn it, dude.
There is a word that is said. Namor uses a word to describe himself. He describes himself as a mutant. This is
really? He stated himself as a... Whoa, shit.
This is the second time in the MCU in the last year that a character has used the word mutant. Since the acquisition of Fox, they have used the word mutant. Once in the Disney Plus series Miss Marvel, and now once in
wow. Yeah,
Wakanda
so they're
Forever.
breaking that in too. Holy shit, man. This is going to get huge.
They're seeding all of that. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So and that's the thing is they are doing what they can to turn these into not just summer fluff blockbusters. And again, there may be Scorsese and Tarantino may be speaking some truth as it refers to some of the older iterations of certain comic book movies. But I believe that what you're seeing out of the MCU right now is something more than creating just using these licensed characters. They are finding actors to truly embody and personify these licensed characters to the point where, and the beauty is they have enough material and enough times within the comics that mantles have passed and so many other characters that they can use that when an actor is done playing the role, they'll just move on to the next mantle and not have to recast and in many ways denigrate what the actor has done with that role. They can retire that role and move on to the next one and realize that actor embodied it. Robert Downey Jr. was Tony Stark, and that's why the MCU was able to be started. Chris Evans was, if not Captain America, he definitely was Steve Rogers. 100%.
Oh yeah.
And you've by doing this again, they're also making it so that one of the beauties, they're making so when characters die, they're dead. They're dead. They're gone. The only one that's a catch in that is Loki, and that's because that's part of the nature of Loki. He just doesn't die.
Right.
But, Tony Stark, dead, gone. Natasha Romanoff, dead, gone. The only one that's weird is Gamora's dead and gone, but because of the time shift, there's another Gamora. But that Gamora wants nothing to do with the Guardians, and so there's story element at least in that because she's really not the same Gamora. Really weird. But
interesting.
Even Groot. Here's another thing that has come out with the new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out and the trailer dropping. The Groot that we see in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as the little baby Groot running around dancing to ELO and just being cute, and then the teenage Groot who is in Endgame and Infinity War, and the young adult Groot that appears in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's not the Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Okay.
Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 at the end of that movie, he died.
Oh.
This is basically a sapling that grew from his remains. It's a separate Groot.
So are all of them separate Groots?
No, the one since the end credit scenes of
Baby
Guardians
Groot
of the Galaxy 1.
Okay, so yeah. Baby Groot and teenage and young adult Groot. This Groot is a different Groot.
It's the new Groot, yes.
Okay,
and
so
Rocket has raised him.
Groot
Rocket
2.
is basically his adoptive dad.
Is he still voiced by Vin Diesel?
Yes.
Really? Oh, that's cool. That's fun.
But that's the thing is Groot did die. Yes, another Groot came from him, but Groot did die. They are they'll kill the characters off when it's important and necessary for story, not necessarily before. But they're dead. They stay dead. This is a big tapestry that's being weaved, and I just think it's very small-minded of directors that I don't know, just their stories are kind of all the same and they're never anything original and they don't get nearly as many butts in the seats and they don't get the budgets of Marvel movies. So I think they're a little salty and sore. That's just my opinion on the matter.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure that like maybe, 1/50th of the people that saw like the crappiest Marvel movie saw, the best Quentin Tarantino movie. So I personally don't think he's had a relevant
You didn't
movie
make
since
the Marvel movies.
90s.
You don't need to be this bitter.
I'm just saying it hurt me too. Cause I'm like, this is one of those guys very much like Kevin Smith who made me think that at one point in my life, maybe I could be a film director, maybe I could do this too.
You know what? I can see, okay. Cause you said Tarantino was like Kevin Smith in that regard to you.
At one point in time, yeah.
Because that's honestly, like I get that vibe too. I get that vibe. Quentin Tarantino is one of those directors that feels personable. He feels like the guy next door. You know what I mean? He feels like a dude that you would run into at a bar or a coffee shop and talk shop with.
Except that he's he's a racist dick that likes to use the N-word and doesn't see a problem with that. Real quick.
What?
Okay, sorry. Finish what you're saying. Go on.
No, you can't interrupt with what I'm saying with something like that and then expect not to fucking explain that. What are you talking about?
He uses the N-word and thinks it's cool to use it in his movies, and he doesn't understand why people have problems with it.
Has he stated that himself? Have people called him out on that as being imperceptive? Is he truly imperceptive, or are people trying to like? I'm not going to defend anything like that. That's not where I'm going.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's another one of those where you use certain language because it's storytelling, and that language is necessary. It's the excuse to use it because he's trying to tell real human stories, and that's how real humans talk.
So do you think
that kind of thing?
Okay, so that makes sense with that style. That can come off extremely shallow, and you're right, it does. Like that totally does. I just didn't know that making a full call out like that was the case, especially with like the amount of people that he works with and what those people that work with him say about him. I haven't ever heard of anything like that. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep working with him.
True.
But that like, okay, that aside, I just the part that what I was trying to say was that Quentin Tarantino seemed like for the longest time, because he was kind of a lot more open to dude. Like Scorsese wasn't like that. Spielberg isn't like that. Fuck, Lucas isn't like that. Like most of these other directors, Coppola not like that. I could name off a bunch of them. Hitchcock, not like that. Everybody was, those directors that I named off, aside from Tarantino at this point, aside from like Tarantino and Kevin Smith, everyone else is too far out. You know what I mean? Like they have this
those were the
aura
guys that
about
came
them.
From the same. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, they have this aura about them that makes them feel like untouchable higher ups. Whereas Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino, they're examples of directors that aren't like that. And you're starting to find more and more people that are transitioning from acting to directing or from acting to writing that are starting to look more personable in more recent years, I would say. But that's one of those, like, what's really funny is like, I never thought Ron Howard was like one of those guys.
No, Ron Howard's like literally one of the most down to earth people in Hollywood
super
ever.
Chill. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's super chill. Like Ron Howard kind of gives me that vibe in a completely different aspect of it. Like I don't know, he took some of Mayberry with him, it feels like, even though that's not the case. It just feels
not
like
really, not really considered the fact that he's a legacy Hollywood star. His dad was a Hollywood star. His mom was a Hollywood star. His dad, Rance Howard, was a major star before he was, and now his daughter is a star.
Hell, his brother's a star. Like, his brother's a star as well.
His brother is a star.
Yeah,
thanks to Ron.
Yeah, for sure. And what I'm getting at with that is that even in the middle of all of that, Ron does not have that air. I don't see Ron Howard making these kinds of comments about people, about superhero films or anything like that. You know?
And I would throw of the people that you're talking about, like Quentin and Kevin, that for our generation, those were the people that they worked in the type of jobs we worked in. They aspired to make films, and then they figured out ways to make them and made them. And they were the people that like maybe I might have a chance at this. I would throw two other directors into there.
Yeah,
one of them was originally a writer and an actor, and then later became a director. And another one just started off directing and made some really cheap, cheesy B movies at first. So his first movie was a short film that was really cheap and cheesy, and then he made that script longer and made his first breakthrough film out of that. This one I'm talking about is Robert Rodriguez, who is a contemporary of that, and he's down to earth, chill. He sits around playing guitar with his the people that he's directing. Just he carries an acoustic guitar around, just sits around and plays guitar and has a grand old time doing stuff. And then Jon Favreau, who wrote Swingers, about him and his introduction to LA. His character is basically him. Vince Vaughn's character is basically Vince Vaughn. He wrote that film, and he went on to eventually a bunch of acting roles. He went on eventually to direct the movie Elf. That was his first movie he directed. Most people don't know that.
I didn't know Jon Favreau directed Elf. That was his first.
That was his first
film.
Real big movie. Big movie he made. Yeah, he made some.
He knocked that shit out of the park.
Some low budget crap, but Elf was the first real big, kind of substantial budget that he made.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he went on to direct Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
And then just is now overseeing fucking Star Wars and everything else.
Yeah, he's executive producer for MCU. He's now one of the executive producers for The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and basically anything that Disney Plus is doing for Star Wars. And Robert Rodriguez, you know what he did recently?
No.
He directed multiple episodes of The Mandalorian, including the episode where Boba Fett came back, and then he's the one that actually directed the Boba Fett series for Disney Plus.
Rodriguez, he was the director for Boba Fett?
Most of it. Not all of it.
No joke.
You know who else popped in to direct some Mandalorian and Boba Fett?
Who?
And it's funny, you're the one who mentioned Ron Howard. Bryce Dallas Howard, she came in and directed a couple episodes of both Mandalorian and Boba Fett.
That's dope. Yeah, that's great.
So I honestly believe now. I honestly believe that maybe there's a little bit of jealousy, and that's where Tarantino's popping in. He's maybe having a little bit of jealousy about the fact, because apparently he also announced during this podcasting that he has a television series that he's working on, a limited series, like an 8-episode limited series. I think he's a little jealous of the money and the different creative things that his contemporaries are getting. But real quick, here's what Samuel L. Jackson, he was on The View actually when he responded to the Tarantino thing, because what Tarantino said is that there are no real movie stars in Hollywood anymore, suggesting that superhero characters were more famous than the actors portraying them. Okay. And Sam Jackson's response to that was, it takes an actor to be those particular characters, and the sign of movie stardom has always been what? Asses in seats? What are we talking about? That's not a big controversy for me to know that apparently these actors are movie stars. Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther. You can't refute that, and he's a movie star.
Yeah, that's great.
That was Sam Jackson's actual response verbatim.
That's so perfect. That is the best thing he could have said, aside from, well, then who the fuck am I? I could have seen him drop something like that even on The View, but he took the high road, and he did it brilliantly.
By the way, just an additional note for anybody listening to this, and for you, Mike, if you ever get the opportunity to watch an interview with Samuel L. Jackson and his wife, who's also in the entertainment industry, she is a spitfire. She is amazing.
Really? Oh, that's great.
And she, most people are probably somewhat intimidated by Samuel L. Jackson. She is not at all.
Well, she shouldn't be.
Not at all.
That's great.
This is a guy that was actually shipped out. He was actually forced by his family to leave where he was living on the East Coast and move out to LA because he was on an FBI most wanted, or not. It was on an FBI watch list because he was involved in some almost terrorist activities as a kid during doing protests, segregation protests and whatnot.
What did he try to blow a building up, man? All you gotta do is be out in the street and say, "Don't do that shit."
No, he helped take some people at a college hostage.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he was involved in some movements. He was
how old was he?
He was on he was a young man, late teens, early 20s.
Okay,
and
you can chalk that to being young and stupid and in the middle of a very tumultuous time period.
I mean, to say he was stupid, he was involved in things that he believed in that were definitely changes that needed to be made, just maybe not going about trying to get those changes made in the right ways.
You definitely don't do it by taking hostages, that's for damn sure.
And so his family shipped him out to LA to make sure he didn't get in any more trouble. But
well, it helped.
It helped. I mean, look what it did for his life.
Holy shit.
But that's
I didn't know that. I never knew that.
Of course, one of his first major movie roles was holding up in McDowell's in Coming to America. So there's that.
That is, wasn't it? Was Coming to America before or after the Eddie Murphy? Was it Raw that he plays his uncle?
I don't know for sure.
Like, there's one in an opening sketch where Samuel L. Jackson is playing his uncle as Eddie Murphy's telling dirty jokes to his family at Christmas. It's the opening sketch, and everybody else is just like mortified, and Samuel's character is the only one who's laughing his ass off.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It's brilliant. It's like such a him role too. It's so great.
But that's the thing is, this one of course struck me with a little bit of ire because again, I've been a champion of the MCU since it started with the Iron Man movie. I do believe that they are just, and in the same way that I'm championing the various Star Wars things. I'm sadly, due to time constraints, I'm only halfway through the current Disney Plus series, Star Wars series, Andor, based on the character Cassian Andor from Rogue One. I'm only halfway through that. It's exciting at this point, especially the fact this is a at the beginning of the rebellion. So it takes place at similar times to some of the animated series that are happening. And it shows kind of the start of, what it takes to build a rebellion, to start a rebellion, to get it moving, what it takes to get the people behind you for a rebellion.
Cool.
And it's definitely, we're talking multiple episodes where characters are in prison, people getting tortured by various things. It's not necessarily your standard super light and easy Star Wars, but it doesn't get it. It walks that fine line of being slightly dark, but not so to where it's traumatizing, or not to where, again, kids couldn't watch it, but it is a little heavier themed than some of your lighter stuff. And it's this building of a universe that they're trying to do, building the Star Wars universe beyond what just the Skywalker saga had done. Same thing with the MCU. You're seeing the building through the various TV shows, the various movies, all kind of coalescing into one big thing. And no, just like Sam said, these people playing these roles, they embody these roles. They are who the characters are. And it takes good actors to be able to do that. Otherwise, again, I'm not saying that Edward Norton's not a good actor, but if he was an easier guy to work with, he would have definitely been continuing to be the Hulk. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
These guys, and these are guys that do other roles that have been fantastic in other parts, because they are good actors. They are quality in what they have, quality in what they do, and they lend that. You're not going to get people to buy into superheroes if the acting isn't good. We've seen that with the Fantastic Four movies. The acting was not good in any of those. And there's been 3 of them. 2 with one cast, 1 with another cast.
Wasn't there a Fantastic Four movie in the 90s that was done with like foam rubber suits and shit? Just like really bad.
It wasn't completely made. It was Harvey Korman had the rights to. He filmed it quick on a shitty budget, and it's supposedly never been seen in its entirety, but there's places you can get it.
Oh, okay.
But this is why there are a lot of superhero movies that end up being one-offs or fall apart, is because it does take getting a really good actor to play the part and to embody the role. And you have something like, there's, again, very few that are standalones, but you get something like Deadpool, who finds the perfect actor to play the part of Deadpool, and 2 movies with a 3rd one on the way. If anything, the big one, when you think about it, who came back for the Logan movie? Who came back for that movie? Hugh Jackman, who has proven beyond playing Wolverine that he is a very talented actor and has depth, and Patrick Stewart, who is an amazing actor. Yeah, those are the people that were brought back from the X-Men movies, because nothing against Halle Berry or James Marsden or Famke Johnson, or anybody from those. Nothing against any of those, but those were truly the strongest actors of the bunch. And you're getting, I think Sam's right. you need quality actors to make you believe that they are those parts.
Yeah.
If you don't have quality actors, you're not believing it, and you're not getting successful. And like he says, you're not getting asses in the seat.
Exactly.
And what do movie stars do? They get asses in the seat. Look at Tom Cruise. He has played the same character for what are we on, 7 or 8 movies now with the Mission Impossible series?
Dude, it's been like 20 fucking years now.
Yeah, people more than that. 1997 was the first. 96, sorry, was the first Mission Impossible movie. I remember seeing it in the theater.
Wow.
And all I can say is, people don't go there to see the Mission Impossible story. They go there to see what the hell did Tom Cruise do this time where he almost killed himself.
Right.
That's
exactly.
They're going to see Tom Cruise because regardless of the weird, wacky Thetan beliefs that he's got going on in his
Thetan
brain, he is. I'm sick that I know that, but I do. He is a certifiable movie star. This is a guy that is in a movie, and he is enough of a draw for the movie. Even if he shouldn't be playing the part in the movie, he is enough of the draw. And as far as the character of Ethan Hunt, that's going to go down as one of the probably the most prolific movie characters of all time. That's the American James Bond at this point, and he's lasted longer than any James Bond did. So, I mean,
oh my God, you're right. What the hell, dude? That's insane.
That's because he's freaking Tom Cruise. And so, do people go to the theater to see Ethan Hunt, or do they go to the theater to see Tom Cruise? Bitch, they go to the theater to see Tom Cruise. Quinn want to say there's no movie stars in Hollywood anymore. I mean, again, I don't like the guy personally, other than apparently he's like really motivational and pushes people to do their best, and he's apparently a sweet guy, but his religion's a little wacky. But so I don't know him I can't say that I like him or not. I don't know him well enough. But apparently he's he seems to be a nice guy from what everybody says about him. Maybe he's coercing them or whatever. But damn, he puts butts in the seats. The Top Gun, the plot of the major action of the new Top Gun movie is basically the plot of Star Wars: A New Hope. It's the Death Star trench run.
Oh, that's funny. And what they do, put Tom Cruise in it. We're good.
You put Tom Cruise in it, and still like millions and millions and millions of people go and see that freaking movie.
Put Maverick in
and
it. Fine. It's gonna be fine.
It breaks freaking records and shit in the box office, and you're going, what? Yes, it's fucking Tom Cruise. That's what he'll do. But anyway,
yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't make anybody, dislike Tarantino as much as I do. Although I haven't seen one of his movies since I thought he was relevant as a filmmaker. Keep in mind that he's still dealing with the heat from the Lee family for his portrayal of Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Damn it. Okay, look, man, we are so long on time. Don't bring that up because I've got plenty to say about it.
But anyway, again, you like Tarantino, you want to watch his movies still, even if you don't like him, you still want to watch his movies, fine. Just, this like I say, put a little burr under my saddle just because I'm tired of people that take these beautiful expressions of art that are, some of the modern blockbuster movies, and they try to tear them down and turn them into little kiddie things and not give them the credit that they deserve. And I'm sorry, but I think they deserve the credit. The actors, the directors, the writers, the people involved. This is the newer form of art. What are you...
Sir?
That was my computer.
Oh.
That was my computer doing funny things. Keep that in.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my sharing of that. I'm going to try to go into the holiday season. Looking forward more to more of my comic book, movies, and not let Tarantino sway me.
I think you're going to do fine with that.
My computer hates me right now.
Oh no.
Anyway, Mike.
Yes.
Where won't people be able to hear anything new from us for the next 3 to 4 weeks while we're on Christmas vacation?
Well, you can check us out at theXennialChronicles.com or zencron.com if you don't want to type out that much. You also could check us out on most major podcast platforms. Just do a search for the Xennial Chronicles. You should be able to find us. Also look for us on YouTube, which also has a podcast platform, and our podcasts are uploaded in video format on their website as well. Just search for @Zencron, I believe, is what I gave as our @. We have an @ now. We have a shorthand, James. I don't know if you actually saw that email. We have a shorthand on YouTube. They actually rolled out shorthand, handles for kind of everyone, which is really cool. So we have that. Anyway,
that's awesome.
Yeah. While you're there, if you're checking us out on YouTube and you're listening to this podcast in video format, make sure that you head down and you click the like button, please. And right next to that, you click the subscribe button as well so that you're notified next time after, I don't know, about a month or so when we do our next podcast and it comes out. And next to that, there's also another thing. What is that, James?
I think it's a bell.
Is it? I think it's a bell.
And you need to click that bell.
Click the bell?
Click the bell.
I've got a question for you, James. Can you sing that? I think there might be possibly a little jingle that you could write. Something Christmassy based.
You want me to do that again?
Yes.
Oh God, I gotta think of proper words. Please click the bell. Go click the bell.
Yes. Yes, that's perfect. That was perfect. God,
you must click the bell. Have to click the bell. Go click the bell. Please click the bell. Go click the bell. Do it right now.
Yes, click the bell and make sure you get doubly notified when we have a podcast or a video out or whatever. And I believe that would be it for me. What about you, James? That was perfect, man. Perfect. Home run.
Put me on the spot and shit. That is my favorite Christmas song.
Nice.
So yeah, when you're there, when you're clicking bells, when you're clicking likes, when you're doing all that stuff, please make sure to check out not just the Xennial Chronicles, but Mike has 2 YouTube pages as well. One is his page that he does with his wife, Chronicles Games.
Yes.
This is Mike and Tosh playing video games, all sorts of video games. They've recently begun doing their Twitch stream again. Did I say that right? Am I hip like all the kids?
Yes, you're hip like the kids. We've also started uploading new videos. We've got our video upload schedule back on track. So new videos are coming out. It was like a year, I think. We uploaded like 1 or 2 of them. We started uploading like 1 or 2, and we finally got our regular ones. We've completed some games. The videos are starting to come out now, and we're super excited about it.
We still at some point or another need to do a Halo sesh. We really do.
I think that'd be fun as hell. We could live stream it or something. I think that'd be killer. We could probably set that up somehow.
There's going to be a lot of red versus blue quotes coming out of me while we're doing that.
Okay, I'm not going to get any of them. Chupa Thingy is probably the farthest I go.
Chupa Thingy, how about that?
That don't make a lick of sense. It's like, I think I saw the first episode, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, no, you need to see more. I have it, dude. I have it all.
You have it? You have all of it?
Well, I have I have the original stuff, not when they went, they did more where they went off that world and a bunch of other things happened. I don't have all that stuff, but I have the original first 5.
You have the OG early web series stuff.
Yeah, the early stuff, and then when they get a little later, Sister comes into it, Doc comes into it.
Yeah.
There's some good quotes with Doc and Andy. I love Andy.
I'm gonna have to.
What?
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to get a look at that. I thought I saw it come out on like years ago. I think at one of the collectible stores at Sunrise Mall in Sacramento. I saw the DVD series of like the first 2 seasons of Red versus Blue, and I wanted it, and I didn't get it.
I think I have like 5 or so seasons, maybe more, that are bootlegs. So.
Oh. Well, that's where most of them started coming out. I'm pretty sure they started selling them because they started getting more popular from their bootlegs. It was a free web series originally, so. Oh, it's probably on YouTube.
No, it was on Netflix for a while.
Red versus Blue was on Netflix.
Yeah, if it's on Netflix and they try to stop it on YouTube, all that legal stuff.
Yeah.
But definitely, I have to have a session with that. Maybe we'll find an Andy. I will probably, I'll probably do a lot of quoting. If anything, I'll basically be like Caboose the entire time. Between Andy and Caboose, those are my 2 favorite characters.
I might be able to set up like a Let's Play maybe with another friend of mine who was into Halo back in the day. I'm sure I can do something. I think that'd be fun as hell to do like a live stream style or just like a one-off episode and feature you guys. I think that'd be sick. I'd love it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of me running away afraid. Especially depending on which difficulty mode we put it on. So anyway, people check that out here on YouTube, and then also not just the Chronosode games, which is what we were just talking about, but then got sidetracked with Halo. Check out Mike's other YouTube page, Ruling Note Music. This is Mike talking about basically music related stuff.
Yeah.
Equipment, songwriting, stories about music. Interesting to note, we were talking about Quentin Tarantino and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. One of the things that happens as part of that story is, of course, the Manson family and the craziness that they got up to. Funny enough, Mike does have a episode on his YouTube page for Ruling Out Music that is discussing Charles Manson and his connection to the Beach Boys.
Yeah, all that was, and that one's like one of the most popular videos we have.
So go check that out.
Yeah.
Watch that, like, subscribe, click the bells on those. Please keep it all in the family so that we can, you got stuff to do over this holiday time where you're trying to escape from spending time with your family. Because let's be honest, as much as we want to see our family, do we really? Anyway, thank you all for listening.
Before we do end it, I did want to say, speaking of the Ruling Note Music channel, I've got actually 2 new Christmas song mashup parody things that I'm doing that I'm going to be putting out this month. I had one and I wrote another one and I really can't keep it. So I know, James, you've heard them both, but I will be putting them out as videos. So keep an eye on that channel soon because I'm very proud of both of them. So
I think the South Park guys are going to sue you for redoing Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo, but whatever.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. It just, it depends.
It depends, yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Check that out. Wait for those. See those when they come out. Add those to your Christmas playlist. I know that I have multiple songs on my Christmas playlist. In fact, I think I have my my How the Grinch Stole Christmas record that I need to listen to. One side is the narrated story. One side is the songs. Got to get the spirit. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and dad joke to you. We'll see you again next year.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues
next year.